Oh, hello, Carl Munson here from Expats, Portugal.com with the Good Morning Portugal show. Hastily brushing toast crumbs off my chest. It's been a slightly different, out of whack with my routine this morning. Mrs. M, as some of you know, does a show, a trans-global show with Rick in Bali. I suppose it's part of our Feel Good Portugal suite of sites of both of great spiritual interest, aren't they? Bali and Portugal, on these ley lines that Jenny Lowe's was talking about, I think, on Saturday night on the Feel Good Portugal show. Join us at 10 o'clock on a Saturday for some of that. Oh, you can see green screens all over the place. See what I mean? Let me just twist that like that a little bit. So a little bit pressed this morning, but you know, I'm among friends here and we'll just relax and ease into it and say a few good mornings to you this morning. How are you? ¿Cómo estás? And I say "Cómo estás" rather than "Cómo está" because we're familiar, okay? Hopefully there aren't any strangers here who I've now offended. So difficult. And I'm wondering where Andrew is. Bom dia todos from James Holly. More news, more messages, information coming in about banana slugs. Thank you for this one this morning, James, straight in from you this morning. And I think this may well be, this is the mascot of your university, right? Is that right? So University of California, beg your pardon. But why is it called the Fiat slug? I wonder. Reading Plato, a learned slug as well. Okay. Thank you very much for that this morning. That's a lovely thing to wake up to, isn't it? Who wouldn't want to wake up to a big yellow slug in the mornings? Okay. So, all right. So we've got words of wisdom as well. Be kind whenever possible. Yes, of course. Carrying on from yesterday. And it's always possible to be kind. So from Fred Rogers to the Dalai Lama this morning. And yes, who's done their 15? I didn't time myself yesterday, excuses, but I was listening to some Portuguese for children, a YouTube channel. What's it called? Dinolingo. I think it's called, not Dingolingo. Dinolingo. A Dinolingo. European. So my kids are watching it because it's made of cartoons and it does the animals and so on. Very, very basic, but very reassuring and a great place to start if the prospect of learning Portuguese causes you to burst into tears, as it does for some of us here. Estudei 20 minutos, ontem 10 minutos até agora. Excuse me. What is this, James? Is it you like to be different? So you do 20 minutes one day and then 10 the next to make 30 over the 2 days as an average? Interesting. And Thunder's here, of course, as well this morning. Good morning to you. Bon dia, alegria. And that's why some people's names are in green, folks. Is not because of their pithy comments and sending in photographs of naked gnomes. It is because they're members of the YouTube channel. And James, there they are, James, members James and Thunder shouting out to each other this morning. Bon dia, Carl from Deagle in Belfast as well. 15 minutes completed. Well done, sir. Excellent. In case you've not been joining us or haven't joined us this week, let me show you what the initiative is. And she's going to be so proud of us when she joins. I think she is. She might say, why aren't you doing 30 a day? With that expression on her face. Where's she gone? I've lost me admonishment slide. There it is. Did you do your 15 minutes of? Says Mia there, who will be joining us on Friday. Just scrolling down to make sure I'm not muted. Sometimes it can go on for minutes and minutes, can't it? Where I'm quiet on the screen, muted. I don't know that because I can hear myself in my headphones, but none of you can hear me, and you're all screaming out in the comments and sending me messages. Go! But everything seems to be fine today. The swan legs are puddling under the water as the serene upper parts of the body of the swan are gliding effortlessly around the lake this morning. Is that you as well? How are you feeling this morning? I had a lot more sleep than I would ordinarily have. That's part of this morning's not a mix-up exactly, but it just feels slightly different. I'm out of my routine. as I was saying to you, I mean, I've really enjoying my routine, my daily routine that I've been creating. But this sleep thing is quite good, isn't it? I've had more of it in the last few nights than I've had for quite a long time. And it's actually rather good stuff, isn't it? Sleep. Why didn't anybody tell me? Hola, bon dia, alegria a todos. Down down this morning. So Matty's here. Good morning to you, Matty. How are you, my friend? Bon dia. Expatistas. That's a good. Have we used that before? Umberto Delgado still in the picture there of Midlife Crisis World Tour. Because somebody, again, looking at this anew, as if you were just arriving here for the first time, if you're from outer space, if you're an alien life form. And when we were talking to Nuno the other day, Nuno from Winsurance, who I personally like working with, and who we suggest to others looking for insurance in Portugal, he was talking about how some insurance policies actually have a cover for alien abduction. Now, if it's the other way around, if you're an alien and you've arrived here in Portugal as an expat, and we'll be talking about how you probably should enter your details onto the portal. You might be thinking, what on earth is this? It's like the opening scenes of the Terminator or something, isn't it? Where he arrives on the planet and he tries to acclimatize himself to human life. If you were an alien and you'd come to Portugal, you might think, okay, good morning, Portugal. That is a good place to learn about Portuguese things. Let me look at this screen now. What is this? A midlife crisis world tour? Is this what happens to human beings? He doesn't look like he's in his midlife, that guy. He looks a lot. Although, that said, the comb-over of Umberto Delgado there, he probably was only in his 40s when that picture was taken. People did look a lot older, didn't they, interestingly? I found a really funny and disgusting comedian for the first time last night. I do watch Dave Chappelle. I know he's a Marmite comedian, but I think he's a very smart guy. In among all of the controversy. And Kit Williams talking about aging. That's hilarious, folks. But don't play it in front of your kids. Bon dia Gumpers. It's better than Gimpers, isn't it? But Gumpers, really? Are we going for that? Good morning. That's an extended good morning from James Holly to all the Gumpers. Okay, excellent. This is what we love. Today in Portuguese history, 1507, winding the clock back. Amazing, right? 500 years or so. Afonso de Albuquerque captures the city of Hormuz in Iran. Whoa, poor old Iran. This conquest gives Portugal full control of trade between India and Europe, passing via the Persian Gulf. What a hot spot Iran has been. And what an amazing place. When you see pictures of Iran in the 60s, it's quite extraordinary, isn't it? What a history the country has had. Hola, bon dia a todos from sunny Praia da Rocha. Where's the documentary evidence there, Victoria? Actually, maybe it's good for you to rest occasionally. You're such an excellent contributor of photographs and videos. Photographs, that's such an old-fashioned way of putting it. Pics. You send the pics in from the south of the country. And yesterday, of course, the video of the Navy. And your fantastic video I saw later on in the day, the juxtaposition of surfers in the foreground and naval ships further out at sea. Excuse me, did you hear that? That was superb. What's going on then? I think it's some sort of naval meetup, isn't it? Maybe a rum and port tasting. Maybe all the navies of the world have come to the Algarve, but a late summer warmth, and they're having a port tasting convention down there. I know the British Navy are very much into their port, obviously further up in the country. I've heard of naval friends who are ex-Navy dropping anchor off Porto and getting a bit of port, a tradition between the countries for many centuries, of course, now. So what's going on in Portimao? How did that go? Are there lots of sailors having fun or nursing hangovers this morning? More to the point. Thank you, Victoria. Yes, I thought exactly the same. I wasn't even trying to be first in. The place was empty. Yes, where's Andrea? Is the big... that mystery's been solved, though. Lol, I was waiting for tomorrow's show. And you see, everything's a little bit out of routine here. I'm not usually that far-sighted, am I? To post up 3 shows in advance. And you must have clicked on yes, tomorrow's show. Who's with us tomorrow? Thursday. Vitor Costa is here tomorrow talking about the north of Portugal. If you've got any interest in the north of Portugal, do please join us. And Andrea was already waiting for that show to begin and maybe posting comments. So we'll get your comment that you posted this morning. Tomorrow morning, Andrea. Job done. Jim White also here. Bon dia todos. 15 minutes. Well done, Jim. Steady there. Steady. Always says 15 minutes. None of your 2010 Didn't do it today. We'll do it tomorrow. Just 15, 15, 15. Yes. Tom Selton. Bon dia. Good morning, everybody. Hey, Tom. How are you? And you're probably saying to Andrea, I'm sure that's not right, Andrea. I'm sure that's not right. Vittoria's on tomorrow, not today. How are you, sir? Bon dia todos. 0 minutos. Oh, hardly slept last night, so took a nap. Rather, we'll catch up later. Hope all are well. Hardly slept. So, is it the insomnia thing? I hear of this. Never. I'm so glad to say I've never struggled. The only time I can remember, I mean, being ill, or being sunburnt. One early experience of sunburn in the south of France, or actually mid France, with my dad on holiday. Arrived there first night out, playing the old boule, and stayed in the sun too long. I had to apply yogurt to my legs to try and cool them down, and had a struggle some nights trying to sleep. And that night never happened to me since. The pain was so great. I've never been caught out like that again. But insomnia, must be a terrible thing. What do you do about that? Do you just sort of grin and bear it, and then eventually have a nap, as you described there, Francis? Amazing. Tom, lol, at Francis. Andrea was waiting in the wrong show, but she was still earlier than your comment. That's true. And that'll be the earliest comment ever for tomorrow morning, won't it? Over 24 hours early. I posted my comment 40 minutes ago, but for tomorrow, we can't wait to receive that. And there are there are 2 shows that are lined up already. If you want to make a comment on either of them, you know what to do. 24 hours now, that is early. It is. Vittoria's going to be so impressed with you. And so have you said bon dia on tomorrow's comments then? She's not a time lord, a time lady, isn't she? Traveling into the future and making comments. Fantastic. Ashwin Jayaram. Oh, yes, it is. Of course, maybe Ashwin is here, because let me just put this on the screen. It is Ask Anything About Portugal Wednesday, and the doc will be joining me after 9. I quite like this. We have a bit of a gathering, don't we? The regulars have a chat, see how everybody's doing, and then the main event joins us. Me on a Monday, Doc on a Wednesday today, and of course Jacqueline joined us. And what did you make of that? That crazy guy Simon. Is that on your list of things to do in Portugal, in the Silver Coast? When you arrive here, he has bars, 2 bars now, one in Foz de Areia and one in Óbidos. So make sure to go pop in and see, and have a Spanish, Belgian, or Portuguese beer, or all 3 when you're on holiday, right? But not at the same time. I am searching for a lawyer to apply for D2 entrepreneur visa. Well, Ashwin, I'm sure you know by now that our preferred immigration agency, tell him everybody, you all know, is Gilda Pereira of Assessoria Imigrante, and she works closely with Daniel Reyes, who is a lawyer that we know and have spoken to on the show. So go to our business directory, if you will, and you will find Daniel there. And if you need a D2 entrepreneur visa, I'm sure AE will be able to help you with that. Gilda and team will be able to help you with that too. Jeff Jackson is here. Bon dia, Carly Todos. Good morning to you, Jeff. Good stuff yesterday in the Expats Portugal Plan Forum. Appreciate your intel in there. Simon Blueberry. Hello. Are you reporting from your ancient blueberry, I wonder? Do you grow blueberries? Do you like blueberries? It's none of my business. But when you put that on the screen, obviously my mind is wondering. So do I need to get a visa in my home country for a D7, or can I apply in Portugal? No. And this is where I became confused yesterday. There was a reunification question which threw me, but you get your visa in your home country at the Portuguese consulate. You don't come here and do that, okay? Stephen Wells, Andrea, do we need to get here a day early to be in the first to comment now? Now, this is when it does get all kind of Terminator and Time Lordy, isn't it? I wonder. No, that's just a slogan, Fiat Slug. Well, what does that mean? I mean, fiat. What does fiat mean? Does that mean fast? We have fiat currency, don't we? And we have fiat cars. The documentary about Fiat motor cars in Italy is extraordinary. What a family. There's something about the way Italians do everything, isn't there? And building cars and being the family that builds cars is no exception. I recommend that. I think it might have been on Netflix. The family behind Fiat. And of course, the decades, possibly centuries now of car production. A fascinating story with all of Italian life in there. So what does Fiat mean in this context, please, James? Anna's here. Bon dia alegria from Algarve. Sun is up and shining. I haven't seen you for a few days, Anna. I'm sure you're enjoying your life in the Algarve. Maybe you've been sleeping more as well. Just going to have a quick sip of tea. We have got a jingle that's been made for this very purpose, but Actually, let me just show you something on the screen while I do that, so you're not just hanging there. This I forgot to show you yesterday. If anyone's looking for a job in Portugal, this I noticed on our website, and I hadn't noticed, which is jobs in Portugal. Is a little link at the bottom of our website. Hadn't seen this before, and actually, other news to share is that we'll be getting Jerry and Astrid on the show more often, which I think is a really good idea. Some of you know them from different contexts, but not on the show. So we will be having a bit of a team gathering so you can chat to all the members of the Expats Portugal team. And I think we should get a few of the Ask Our Expats folks on. You know, Pam's often in here, isn't she? Sending in fantastic photographs. But let me just share with you this while I'm having a sip of tea so that you can see for yourself. 26,000 plus current job offers in Portugal. Who knew? So let's bring that onto the screen for you now. You can't actually do a search while I'm drinking my tea, but this will give you the idea, and you might be able to see the URL from the share. Oh yeah, you can see what it's called. Jubal, stand by. Bit of coughing too there. So your new job vacancies in Portugal over hold on a minute, it's dropped since I first mentioned it. Over 25,900 current vacancies. That's still not too shabby, is it? On 1,360 sites available to you. Find your new job today. And there you go. You scroll down, you see job search by city, job in Portugal, more than 20 regions. Of course, there are available for you to search, find a job that matches your request. Popular job offerings. Let's see what's going on. So there's, I see the word elderly quite a lot. Part-time with or without experience. That sounds quite flexible. Part-time Monday the 6th. So I start in a couple of weeks. Agricultural workers harvest, of course, this time of year. Area cleaner, articulated heavy driver. Yes, are they recruiting for the UK? Maybe. Fruit picking, Switzerland. So you could come to Portugal and then get a job in Switzerland. CTT distribution, of course. You see that one there. They need a little bit of help, don't they, over at CTT. Penafiel, walls slate. I wonder what that means. Workers for France. Interesting, isn't it? Elderly companion. I wonder if that is a companion for somebody who's elderly, or is it an elderly person who? I mean, we all need an elderly companion, don't we? Some words of wisdom. I'm sure that's not a full-time job, though, is it? You know. Hello, Carl. How are you today? Who's that with you? Oh, that's my elderly companion. We always go everywhere together now. Recruitment Angola as well. So jobs in France, Angola, and Switzerland are having arrived here in Portugal. Full-time vacancies Monday to Friday. Elderly home, part-time workers, part-time for students, and work from home. Oh, that looks good. Work from home. And it's often in these work from home situations that it might be customer service, where if you're not a brilliant Portuguese speaker, you might be able to speak in English or other native language, might you, in customer support. So I think that's a pretty cool thing to have found there on my own website. How about that? Hope you enjoyed it. All right, so do I see Penny Albertella here as well? That rare and exotic bird from Devon. Penny Albertella is here. Bon dia, alegria. How are you this morning? Watching on the treadmill this morning, Penny. And that was it Tim yesterday who just typed in an H? He later explained that he was on the treadmill and it could be difficult. But then he wrote a really good, and it must have stopped on the treadmill. And there's no chance, is there, of sending out a message you're on the cross trainer? Although could be quite funny, couldn't it? But morning to you, Anna. Morning to you, Penny, and to Stephen as well. Bon dia to you, and Mark's here as well. Look at that. Bon dia. Work getting in the way of listening live. It's outrageous. We'll manage the first few minutes and then have to listen later in work, eh? I did my 15 minutos being leader of the Memrise group this week so far. Yes, you see, for some people, it's the old competition that works, isn't it? And Matty's rocking it in Memrise. We do have a Good Morning Portugal group there, which I've yet to join. Must do that. I just was reminded briefly yesterday and then I forgot all about it. So it goes, isn't it? Do you think that in this time of being alive as a human being, we remember more things than any humans have ever had to do? I wonder if that is the case. And thank you, Microsoft, for putting up a screen that I don't remember asking for. What is it about Microsoft and Bill that make them want to like intrude into every area of your life, including doing a live stream? Oh, I'm ranting, aren't I? I hear that I'm with my self-consciousness that I would like to think has been developed through meditation. I can see myself ranting now. I'm not involved in the rant. I haven't got the red mist. I'm not completely consumed by anger and fury. But I could see a certain rilement, a little bit of riling going on this morning. And I don't know how to get that off, but so I'll read it. Lisbon, 13 degrees. Thank you, Microsoft, for this. Face masks become mandatory in the Common. It's a bit clickbaity. Commons, presumably. They want to set an example to them in the UK. It's UK tailored news, isn't it? Imperial College told to remove bust of slavery abolitionist because he can't see that either. Rough gas storage site may be reopened to beat energy crisis. Oh, my goodness. Oh, lots of good news then. And, I don't see a single tab on here or thing to click to get rid of it. I only see things that if I click on them will take me elsewhere. But I took Russian roulette. I've clicked on something. It's just opening up a web browser. Go away. Hola, bon dia. Sorry about that. Hola, bon dia. Hank is here. How are you, Hank? Great to see you. And a simple everyone or everyone this morning from Hank. That was not you. Doesn't sound like you at all, does it? It was just a generic movie American there for you, Hank. Bon dia alegria. Jack, who had a great time with Basil in the bedroom the night before last. Bon dia alegria after stupid for 3 days. Words getting around, Jack. Seth appointment on Thursday at 9. Great. Yes, because of course we heard your story, didn't we, of your visa journey so far, the ups and the downs. And we will be talking about Seth with the doc when he arrives, because he did his biometric thing, and he by chance checked into Seth online and found out he had an appointment. They didn't send him a message to say so. It was just there, lurking, waiting for him like a squirrel's buried nut in a winter wonderland. So we'll find out more about that with his warning to others not to be in that predicament and miss an appointment with Seth. You don't want to be doing that. Seth appointment on Thursday at 9. I hope you all enjoy the rest of the week. So good luck with that, Jack. Let us know how it goes. Jean's here as well. Oh, Jean. You're quite amazing. Born to Portugal, 15 plus minutes, moved the whole trip up from March to November. Excellent. I'm now arriving in Lisbon on 20th of November on tap 0202. Is that the flight? Are you into your numbers and your numerology there? Very good. Okay, so brought it all forward. What brought that on, Gene, if you don't mind me asking? Would you care to share that with everybody? Just want to, you've just fallen in love with the idea more and more and you want to get a move on with it. Lynn and Zizenis. Let's go with that. Bon dia to you. And your kayak there with the dog on the kayak. That's a great photo. Good morning. How are you? Tom, I had my chance to be first, but missed it. Murphy's Law. Yes, you missed a wide open goal there. And Jacqueline Branco also here. Looking forward to sharing your pictures next Monday. Incredible. And what's your secret in the garden there? Do you use seaweed from San Martino Porto de Beach as a fertilizer? But very fine looking vegetables there on your vegetable patch, Jacqueline Branco, if you don't mind me saying. 1 minute. Ordered coffee and then later lunch. Very good. Very good. I would have thought that would have been taken a bit longer than 1 minute, but good stuff, Thunder. And do we think that we're having a sort of a net gain here with what we're doing with the 15 minutes and being mindful of learning and daring ourselves a little bit longer? I think so. We're a couple of weeks into this, aren't we? So no sleep. Okay, so there's an insomnia theme. Is it that you're just all too excited about, being first for the Good Morning Portugal comments, I wonder? No sleep last night, second night in a row for Matty. What's going on, folks? Is it the Schumann resonance? Is there a transit in Uranus? What's going on at the moment? No, I do 10 minutes on my apps before I get out of bed each day. Oh, okay. And then shoot for another 30, 40 later. Been missing the target, but at least some done each day. Well, absolutely. Some better than none, right? Okay. Now, here's one of those comments where I'm thinking, I should read this. I don't recognize this name. Let me just read this before I share it with you, because the name sounds like it could be pranking me, but I'm not sure. Oh, okay. No, it's fine. It's fine. It's the Porky Feet. Why, Andy? Why? At Austin. It's Austin using Andy's social media. If it's not Facebook, it's YouTube, as it is here. Bondia just subbed up to YouTube as you're moving from Facebook. Yes, sorry about that. And thank you for noticing. And it will happen from next Monday, the 1st of November. It sounds like I've used the 1st of the month to do it in some sort of strategic way. Just so happens that next Monday is the 1st, and that's the honest reason. So taking Mummy and Daddy back to the airport in Porto today. Oh, I had a great time though whilst they were over. So lots of love to Mummy and Daddy, of course, and cheers. Is it Andy writing that or Austin writing that? Or are you continuing to use your boys' social media? But thank you very much. And what is it? What are the porky feet, I wonder? It does sound like a Bairrada speciality. And thank you for your Bairrada movie, which I think we should play at some point. Maybe we should play it tomorrow by way of moving up the country through the Bairrada region and then up into the north with Vitor when we talk to him tomorrow. Oh, yeah. Also tomorrow, let me just let you know that we have this. A company called Serenity. Now, interesting. Not spoken to them before. Understanding and using, not spoken to them before on a webinar, and using the Portuguese health system, advice on what to do and where to get help when you need assistance. So that's tomorrow night, 7:30. Premium members, of course, and Premium Plus get VIP treatment on that. And Michael, who will be doing the presentation, is going to stay for the lock-in, everyone, on the Expats Portugal plan. So you get 2 bites of the cherry, or if you prefer to just rock up to the second session, Michael will be there to talk to you. So that should be good. Serenity, very interesting company, understanding and using the Portuguese health system, and we'll find out more about Serenity tomorrow evening. Perfect. Okay, back to your comments then. Porky feet indeed. Just made my coffee and got my Marmite and crackers in front of me, ready to face the day. Bless you. Marmite on crackers. What is wrong, Francis, with that? Crackers? Why isn't that on butter dripping toast, my friend? Marmite on crackers. What? I cannot compute that. But it doesn't sound. Oh yeah, I guess you would need coffee, wouldn't you, having stayed up all night? So you got your coffee going on. Maybe your body knows that it can rely on coffee and then doesn't go to sleep. I don't know. I am not an epidemiologist. Or volcanologist or nutritionist or MD or anything like that. What would I know? But I am fascinated by your insomnia, and I just feel like I want to help because it just sounds like a pretty pass, as old-fashioned English people say. Jeff Jackson, hope you and family are feeling better, to Francis. Yeah, indeed. She tried to give you a chance to be first, and you messed it up. He's tired. Come on, give him a break. Bon dia todos from Ron, Jane, and Rainey in the marina. It was sounding like Rod, Jane, and Freddie for a moment there, folks. Those of you who were celebrating with us the birthday of Jane, not this Jane, although we did celebrate this Jane as well. Jane from Rainbow. I thought that was what was happening here. Bon dia todos from Ron, Jane, and Rainey in the marina in Portimao. What? Aren't you normally in Cascais? I mean, not that you shouldn't be moving about, but you've confused me there. So, rainy marina in Portimao today. And I think we do have another picture from Victoria, which is always good to know. Elra, morning all. Hello, Elra. How are you this morning? And good to know from the Gersbach household that everyone's feeling much better. Thank you. Life is back to normal. Oh, so glad to hear that, Francis. That's great news. Catherine Whitby, bon dia. Beautiful sunny day in Viseu today. Found the Dow wine. Oh, yes, of course. Found the Dow Wine Welcome Centre. Fabulous. Yes, of course. And off to Figueira de Foz today. Well, you get about, don't you? And so it doesn't sound like the search is over. You didn't go try Dow wine and say, okay, this is it. Cancel Figueira de Foz. We're staying here. You like the wine, but not enough. Or, by the sound of it, to keep touring. Or maybe you have. Maybe you're touring anyway because it's all booked and you do want to go to Viseu. Fine place. I dropped the ball. Okay. Navy is gone this morning. So that was quick, wasn't it? Navy gone this morning. All safe here in the bay in Portimao. Fantastic. All right, Andy, calm down. Andy Gilchrist is here, everybody. You don't want to be shouting like that in St. Paul's Cathedral, Andy. Bon dia to everyone this lovely Wednesday morning. Gary Ogles is here as well. And I think João was in the Portuguese Navy. I'd love to have him on to talk about Portuguese Navy life. That's a great idea, Hank. And maybe he will. You're right. Maybe he will. Or maybe he can't speak of it. Bon dia from a very overcast Coleraine this morning. Hello, William. Hold on. Look at this. I'm liking the cut of that photographic ID jib there. When injustice becomes law, resistance becomes, is that necessity? Possibly there. William, good morning to you on that rather strident note. Okay, people pleased to see Hank. Hank pleased to see Matty. Hank pleased to see Andrew. As well. And Simon Blueberry, you need to start the D7 process at the embassy in your country, as far as I know. Absolutely right. We've all been watching and listening to Gilda long enough to know that that is the case. Cheers, Matty, for your help there. Yes, of course, it is Ask Anything About Portugal. And perhaps we are a little too inward-looking this morning. Nothing wrong with us all saying hello to each other and catching up. But there may be other people watching thinking, what? This is a live stream of people saying hello to each other. I came here to ask anything about Portugal. Please feel free to do that. No problem whatsoever. Stick them in the comments, and you might put at Carl or hashtag AAAP to make it stand out. You can see how many comments there are there. Sleep was a series of unfortunates, says Francis. I blame load shedding. Oh, and it obliterating my home alarm batteries. So a 1:30 wake up. So you oh, I see. Sorry, I thought that was a vaccination reference. Load shedding. It is the okay. So your home alarm batteries. You've had a power surge that's messed up your alarm batteries. So a 1:30 wake up to fight or flight mode. Couldn't settle after. Yeah, okay, yeah, fair enough. That I can understand that basis for the insomnia there. Matty, shout out to Jean on the congrats on the early move to Portugal. Will follow in January, of course. Matty, it seems like it's ages, doesn't it, since you and I, since all of us have been talking about you moving to Portugal. Not long now, my friend. Rebel Mama's here as well. Watch out, everybody. Hola, bon dia. I did my 20 minutes and a long walk ended up in the village, surprisingly. Adventure every day. That sounds wonderful. North of Portugal tomorrow. You might want to tune in, Rebel Mama, and supplement the information, because north of Portugal is very big. Vitor doesn't know it all. He is from Ponte de Lima, if you want to know more about Ponte de Lima tomorrow. But Rebel Mama also becoming quite an authority of that part of the country, sending us beautiful images and videos. Do you remember the cow at the gate in the morning? You don't get that in Lisbon, do you? So you get it in, when I was in India, of course, you get cows walking up and down the street. Same in northern Portugal. Speaking of time traveling, my favorite Stephen Hawking story was when he threw a party for time travelers from the future and nobody showed up. Very good. Thank you for that, Hank. Good morning, everyone from Gemini this morning. I was in the bathroom. All right. Oh, that's why you were shouting through. Oh, no. Was that a reference to something else? Why? What's he talking about? Why is he explaining himself and saying that he was in the bathroom? I wonder. Please, Andy. Bon dia. Donna's here. Sorry to not be here so much now. Yes, we're all very disappointed, Donna. We are. We're all doing that Mia look. Donna, really? The show starts. Oh no, I see. Okay, the show starts at 7:30 on Terceira now, and it's not as easy to tune in. So, is that because your clocks have already gone back, or because there is an hour time difference? I didn't know that. I thought all of Portugal and its autonomous regions were on the same time. Let me know if that's the case, because of course this weekend, everybody, maybe on the Feel Good Portugal show, we'll do a 3-hour special. Because as it gets to midnight, it will only be 11 o'clock and we can have an extra hour of it. I wonder if Mrs. M is up for that. Coach Turner is here. And don't worry, folks, the video will be on in the usual place. Coach Turner's guidance for today will be in the usual place soon. Bon dia todos, especially Carl the Gladiator. A boat trip on, yes, that's me. I am Carl. Carlicus doesn't really work, does it? Boat trip on the Avon today. That's a river in the county of Avon. Used to be Somerset, didn't it? Today with the grandkids. But first coffee and a pastel de nata. Look at that. Found a specialist shop yesterday just called Nata. Isn't that great? The Portuguese feelers extending all the tentacles of Portugal around the world, such that even in the county of Avon, in the Roman Bath town of Bath, you can find a pastel de nata. Superb. And Andy, pleased to see you as well. I believe fiat is Latin. Well, it is, isn't it? But what does it mean? Fix it again, Tony. An obscure reference from the Thunder Duck there. A reference I don't understand, but I'm sure from American popular culture or American alternative culture, if I know Thunder. How to connect, Ian Turner. Oh, yes. Sorry. That's my bad, isn't it? I could very quickly make a WhatsApp group now, but okay, mental note made. That's dangerous, isn't it? But yeah, we need to get you two together. Just want to let people know we got the Mayo Wi-Fi hotspot more than a week ago. Okay, so this is useful advice for everybody. They say it's 15 euros for 15 days unlimited internet, and it doesn't cap the data or charge for more. Works great all over. So there you go, a glowing endorsement there from Andrea Anton, the Mio Wi-Fi hotspot if you're traveling around in Portugal and you need a sustainable, safe, and sounds like cost-effective solution there. Midlife Crisis World Tour, Eusebio, port wine was just normal wine that was fortified, so it would travel better to England. You could say that port was invented for the British market. Yes, there's nothing wrong as far as the Brits are concerned with any fortified alcohol, right? Tenants Extra, Special Brew, any of those awful beers. I can't stomach those myself. But yeah, what is it with the Brits and their love of alcohol, really? But yes, thank you for that. Useful to know, to make it travel, of course. Maybe, can you imagine the early wine explorations? And then you get this lovely wine in Portugal as an English sort of explorer. And you say, okay, load up the ship. We'll take 20 barrels back to Blighty. You there, move faster. And that sort of thing. Maybe I was a sea captain, ship captain in a past life. It came easily to me, that, didn't it? And then you think, I'm going to be the talk of the town back in London with these barrels of Portuguese vinho, I think they call it here. Some of it is red, some of it is white, and there's even that green fizzy stuff, which is rather nice. That'll get the missus tipsy. I'm going to take it home. And then you get home, you sail into the port of London with your 20 barrels of Portuguese wine, only to discover that it has all gone off on the journey, being tossed about in the Atlantic. Around in the Bay of Biscay, didn't travel so well, and all this hype. This is the greatest wine in the world I brought to you from Her Majesty's Portugal. No, that never happened. But and then it's gone off on the journey, and you become the pariah, social pariah, only to come back next year. I have new wine for you. It's been fortified, gentlemen. This is good. This is much better than last year's, Captain Munson. That was quite a flight of fancy, wasn't it? Matty is saying, in Germany, we say Fehler in allen Teilen, what translates to fault in every part. Okay, so that's a Fiat. Right, okay. I see. That's a reference to Fiat cars. I got you. So fix it again, Tony. Right. Yes, referring to the reliability or otherwise. I see. I'm with you now. Bit slow on the update this morning. Just this morning. Fehler and Allen. So the of course, the great German car industry may well look down on Fiats. It translates to a fault in every part. Dear oh dear. Any Fiat aficionados who can, one, tell us what it means in the Latin, but also might want to come to the defense. I did have a Fiat Panda, I think, or was it an Uno? It was one of the funny little ones. I quite liked it. I was never sure it was going to work or not, but I did like it. You know, that's it felt Italian, if you understand what that means. Pamela Smith, bon dia to you, Pam. How are you this morning? And of course, reminding me that you can ask questions. You don't have to hire them. I will put this question to. No, that's not it. That's the book club, but that's actually probably quite a good idea as well. Let me take that ticker tape off there for a moment so you can see what's going on. And Pam's comment this morning. Would you like to join our book club? More importantly, would you like to run our book club? Okay, those are the books there from the Alcabasa Finanzas in the background, which I was able to snap with their permission the other day. Anyone up for that? But that's not what I meant to show you. What I meant to show you was this collection of folks here. Where have they gone? For goodness sakes, so many pictures, so little time. Ask the people who live here. There they go. There's Pam on your left of your screen there. Now, so I can put a comment back on now, can't I? So that you can see her. No jingle yet. No, I haven't done it yet, Thunder. But bon dia, right under your name. Your cat is with you there on the screen, Pamela. Pam Smith in Alcabasa. Maria Costa in Tomar. Anna in Cascais. We have Sally in Lisbon. And we have Thomas in the Ribatejo Valley area as well. And others. So you can find them on our website if you want to just book them up for an hour or 3 hours, actually, and a nice little flurry of 3-hour bookings. So if you want to ask them a question, you can do that here and I'll put it to them, or you can go and book them direct for an hour and just get straight into that over there on the website, expatsportugal.com. Yeah, I'm working on that jingle, Thunder. That'll happen soon. So much to do. And I've been sleeping more, I'm glad to say. Also, the port was often traded with the British for bacalhau. Okay, so what, the British would be coming down with the bacalhau from the Scandinavia? Is that right, Eusebio? And handing it over for I bet they were glad to switch that cargo. No offense to anybody who likes bacalhau, but can you imagine in the hold a great store of bacalhau? You go in and make sure it's okay. I'm not going in there. I feel seasick already. I'm not checking the bacalhau today. That's your job. And then you switch it over for some very inoffensive bottles of and everybody wants to check that, don't they? Yeah, I'll check the port today. I'll just make sure it's all still there. Funny enough, there are a couple of bottles missing. Okay, Peter Bleach is here, everybody. Bon dia, everyone. Hope you are having a great week thus far. You could tell he's an academic thus far. Pete, what does Fiat mean? Prepping for our jobs on Project Portugal's place tomorrow. Okay, so that's lovely. See how it works here in Portugal. People help each other on each other's community projects. Fantastic. The community dig in. That's the way to do it. Well done, Pete. And James Holly, Fiat definition, an authoritative decree, sanction, or order, a royal fiat. Okay, so that's fiat currency then, is the currency being the currency of the authority by national order. I see. Okay, I think it's enough to say go Slugs, followed by drunk people grunting, of course. Go Slugs! Peter Bleach, Portugal project. Whoops. I knew what you meant. I mean, Jasper's abandoned village should be fun. We've got to get him on the show. Pete, if you remember, will you ask him if he's up for? I mean, maybe the pair of you could be on, and maybe if you're there in the morning, and somebody other than you, Pete, because I know you struggle with the old farmyard technology, as you put it. Perhaps you could phone in live. Just call in for 5 minutes on someone's phone. People's phones have Chrome on them. It's as easy to do as that. So maybe we can hook up with a pair of you, Pete Bleach and Jasper from the abandoned village tomorrow. Perhaps we'll have a quick dip into Central before we go to the North. Okay, Jill Davis, Jill. Bon dia, hello. I'm going to call you Jill. An elderly companion could be a living-in household with a couple or people who need support but not personal care. Yeah, I think that's probably about right, Jill. And quite a few, growing number of opportunities, obviously, for that here in Portugal. And if you're thinking, I couldn't do that job because I can't speak Portuguese, a lot of these may well be expat couples who need that sort of help, right? Let's put the banner back on. That's really helpful. Thank you very much, Jill. And ask anything about Portugal, hashtag AAAB this morning. Hamza's here. Hi, good morning. I want to register a marriage in Portugal. Anyone to help me, please? I forget the name of the registry office, but when you say you want to register a marriage, I said you want to get married or you're already married and you want to let the Portuguese authorities know. We'll ask the doc about that. He might have had to do that. I don't know. Where is that debonair Brummie? I don't know. In the woods, I suspect. Literally, no news is good news. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right there. And yeah, it is. The picture is grim, isn't it? But that's the business they're in. I mean, that's the job of the news channels is to terrify you. So they are doing a pretty good job, to be fair. They are earning their crust and probably getting quite a good appraisal at the moment when they report to HR to see how it's all going. I kept asking myself, why wait? And I did not have a good answer. That's a really good strategy, Jean, who's brought the trip forward to come to Portugal. Fantastic. Sadly, we will be back near La Doza. We are viewing a property tomorrow. Otherwise, I would love to help. Construction work is all I ever did. Okay, so that would be Andrea possibly helping Pete and Jasper there. 101 day, 100 sleeps till the Minister of Home Affairs and I go out to Portugal. So you've hit that special milestone there, counting down from 100. First good day since COVID 3 weeks ago. Roll on February 2022. So Matty must be down to 90 days then. Deagle on 100 there. Regarding my sleeplessness, it's a combination of circumstances. One being without heating for more than 10 months. This sounds inhumane there, mate. And now a date for it being fixed in sight. I don't believe it will be fixed before I move. So, you're just too cold to sleep. That's so miserable. So I might have to sell my apartment without working CV heating. What does that mean? Central heating? Issues at work and organizing my move in my head all the time, as well as thinking of Portugal too much. Okay, so a few factors there keeping you awake at night, Matty. The best one there of thinking of Portugal, of course. Pete, Andrea, already secured my seat for tomorrow's webinar about health system in Portugal. I think that'll be a good one for you, Matty. Yeah, I do. I think you will like that. I'm looking forward to talking to Serenity. Leonardo's Lardoza always gives me the willies, says Pete. Driving a silent Tesla down that dodgy main road is only brightened up by waves from the grandmothers before the weird chicane. That sounds like, again, it's like one of those little messages in the back of the Times of London, isn't it? As a message from one spy to another. Lardoza always gives me the willies. Driving a silent Tesla down that dodgy main road is only brightened up by waves from the grandmothers before the weird chicane. Meet me on the park bench, 2:30. I will have a rose in my lapel. Talking of clandestine meetings, here he is in his motor.
Hola, Carlos.
How are you? How you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm all right. How are you?
I'm extremely well. We were talking about sleep this morning. I know you and I have discussed sleep before now, and healthy sleep patterns and so on. We got a couple here who had a sleepless night last night. How's your sleep and how's your health in general, sir?
I sleep like a log all the time. My head hits the pillow and I'm gone.
Yeah.
It's a matter of great um, jealousy from Leona, who is the opposite. But when I wake up in the morning, I'm awake and ready to go, whether it's 5:45, or if it's earlier than that, I'll lie in bed in a half-hearted attempt to go back to sleep, and within quarter of an hour I'm up because I can't do it.
So you're annoying in many ways. Then you're one of those annoying, bright as a button people in the morning, as well as the guy
exceptionally annoying.
But we know how it is for the person who's left awake. Not only is that person fallen asleep and not available to talk to anymore, they may well be snoring from the core of their body and rattling the whole bed.
Yeah, I snore. Leona doesn't often, but I get up. I get up. I do 2 hours of work before anyone else has stirred. Really,
It's a good plan. Good. Yeah. They call it the best time of the day, don't they?
I drink my Abatonado, watching the first glimmers of dawn on the balcony. It's great.
Yeah, that sounds lovely. And I have been getting up quite early and doing the same, seeing the sunrise out with the dogs. It's really great, if it's at all possible. But our heart goes out to anyone who struggles with their sleep and who's had a sleepless night, like Francis and Matty here. So we've got a few things to talk about this morning, haven't we? We have your own personal experience of Ceph recently, Doc. You very kindly mentioned it in the forum yesterday. And we may well celebrate, of course, as well. Condé Nast have put Portugal somewhere in the top 20, and we will reveal.
No, they're number one. I'm sure they're number one in Condé Nast.
I was building tension.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But
there you go.
No, it's fine. Everyone would have guessed it was number one.
I told you I was annoying. You should have given me the heads up off air, Carl.
Don't spoil the surprise, Doc. Okay. But then again, comes as no surprise to anyone, does it, watching this show, I think. So we'll come back to that because that's some fantastic news for Portugal. The latest, that has to be said, in a long line of gongs and prizes for being a great place to be. But this Ceph thing, I described your appointment as maybe like an acorn hidden by a squirrel under the snow. You had to be really
well, Ceph has reached out from their deathbed with their dying gasp and given me a totally unannounced appointment for my biometric citizens card equivalent, or whatever it's called. But I wouldn't have known. I saw it was Gilda's comment yesterday that said, "Oh no, you have to go and look for your appointment for your visa." Yeah. And I thought, well, maybe this is true for those of us who've applied for our residency as part of Brexit, having been protected by the Brexit deal. So I went online, and of course, even if you go online to look for it, it's not easy, because if you go in and log in from the Brexit page, you get to see your application, but there's no link to the appointments at all.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm sure there's another slightly easier way in, but having logged in at the Brexit portal and then gone to look for appointments, I just Googled appointment Ceph and ended up on the page that I posted in the forum. So you can display how to do that online now, Carl. But there it was, November the whatever. And if I hadn't looked, I would have merrily let the appointment sail past and would have probably ended up being deported.
In the worst case scenario, I hope that's not true. But yeah, I mean it is obviously what goes through your mind, isn't it? I'm sure the government does have that sanction if they wish to use it. Now we should say and calm down, everybody. Not everyone has to do this. Okay, this is for Brits. This is post-Brexit for Brits. Okay, with people with British passports, and this is what they've been asked to do: protect your rights by surrendering your former residency document for a QR code in the first instance, and then thereafter, having got the QR code, you'll be called in as the doc was, without even knowing it. And this is how you can create an account, and this is how you do it online. So it's only for. We need to make that really clear, don't we? It's only for Brits post Brexit,
and only for Brits who were here before the end of last year.
Of course, because if you're now here on a D7, you're here legitimately, officially. You don't have to go through that process. But it's for those kind of trapped in that little bit, and that's quite a few people. It has to be said. That's quite a few thousand people.
Several thousand, yeah.
Yeah. But the general point, of course, is that, and I would love your view on this, is that CEF is in some. It was never the most efficient organization, got itself into some terrible controversy recently, is now changing its identity and perhaps the way it's working. More details of that will follow. But the general point is they might give you an appointment and not tell you. So you do need to log in, as the doc discovered yesterday. So what is your view then, Doc, on the change here? Obviously, it's right that an organization wherein a man was killed in custody would want to do something about that and change how it operates and rescue its image from that situation. What do you think of that and the bigger picture with this then?
Well, my view, from my radical left perspective, of course, and only having been here, well, on and off for 4 years, but for just over a year full time, is that CEF was kind of a law unto itself. It was almost a rogue, toxic organization within government. It combined policy and policing. So you had your CEF police effectively at the border, and you had the same organization dishing out or not dishing out residency and appointments, etc., etc. And I may well be wrong, and Portuguese citizens can come on and take me to task, but I think this was overdue, an overdue proper restructuring of the functions. So the policing function has gone to the various police forces, and the policy function has gone to this new, and administration has gone to this new. It's gone to this new organisation who doesn't seem to know what they're called as yet. Maybe they'll settle on whatever it is today, but maybe not. But the interesting thing, and I'm very pleased, is that this latest change, although for most they might think it's just a name change, it actually isn't. It's as a result of a proposal from the left bloc in order to change the original proposal from the government.
Yeah, okay.
And it actually makes it more transparent, basically.
Yeah, and it's likely to be called APMA. That's who you might be dealing with in the future. CEF, of course, was the Serviço de Estrangeiros e Fronteiras, and APMA is the Agência Portuguesa para as Migrações e Asilo. That's asylum and migration. So that seems like a bit more of a forward-thinking organization. And of course, it can go a little bit wrong when there are self-policing authorities with huge amounts of power, right? It's not unknown in the human kingdom.
Yeah.
Right. So there you go. That's something to watch out for CEF. The big takeaway there is they might give you an appointment, but might not tell you about it. So quite a few people, as you can see there, Doc, happy to see you this morning. They want to know, you're painting the town red in Leiria. How was your evening? And what's it like? I mean, we haven't talked about Leiria for a while. What's the nightlife like there? Are you well known? Do you have to be sort of let out of the police station on a Sunday morning in Leiria?
It's very civilized. Not at all like Birmingham, probably more like going to the spa. But Let me think. So I've been out quite a few times in the evening recently. Last Thursday, which was the no, last Friday, which was the or Thursday or Friday. Anyway, last Thursday we went out to dinner with friends. Last Friday we went to a performance of a theatre show that's called The Dark Dawn, or the Black Dawn, depending on how you see it translated. That was done by three black women. It was a history of black people in Portugal, from slavery to today, and their experiences. And that was all in Portuguese, except for a little bit in Chokwe, I think, which is a West African language, and a little bit in Creole, but the rest was in Portuguese. I understood about 20% of it in terms of the language, but the message was very clear, beautifully done, and had good reviews when it was in Lisbon a year or two ago. And then last night we were out again at a very interesting exposition of the art of medieval musical instruments. So they had musical instruments from the 12th and 13th centuries. These were instruments that were highly influenced, obviously, by the Islamic presence in the Iberian Peninsula. So we had panpipes, we had all sorts of stringed instruments, we had bagpipes, drums, flutes, oboes. I mean, it wasn't called an oboe, it was a sort of precursor to the oboe, reeded instruments, and precursors to the recorder, you know, with the shaped wooden mouthpiece. So really, really interesting. Again, all in Portuguese, but again, very enjoyable, delivered by three, I have to say, men who are probably 10 years older than me, but were tall and dressed in medieval garb and clearly knew their stuff and were very proficient on their instruments.
It's a good look, isn't it? Often with the older sort of Portuguese band. I mean, you know, in terms of their musical repertoire, not their age of the people in the band, but they look good, don't they, with their black capes on? Was that the garb?
Oh no, though they had various colours of medieval, brightly coloured cloaks and doublets, etc. The fantastic thing about these shows is the incredibly low cost. You know, we go and we've been a couple of times now and booked 4 shows at a time for the following 3 or 4 weeks. And often Leona goes free because she's accompanying me, a disabled person. I get a discount because I'm a reader of Bertrand, the bookstore. You know, I think we walked away having booked four shows a couple of weeks ago, and we walked away having paid €15. 4 shows for 2 people. You know, just crazy. Fantastically accessible culture.
Yeah, incredible. I thought Leona got in free because she's with a celebrity, but yeah, okay, I get it. I often make the connection between, you know, when people say, you know, they're avoiding minimizing tax and talking about the amount of tax you have to pay in Portugal. I mean, there is a connection, isn't there, between civic life, the quality of civic life, and tax paid. So if you feel sore about it, that's quite a good way to make yourself feel better, isn't it? Is go out and enjoy the local life and see what the money is being spent on.
Go and have what you've already paid for. You know, the theatres were full. I mean, you know, and these weren't old people; they were young people, and a number of whom I heard speaking English actually, but I think they were probably American or possibly some from somewhere else. But you know, a wide, diverse audience from children as young as 11 or 12 up to very elderly people, but full theatres. And late at night, you know, these were shows that started at 9:30 in the evening and finish at 11. And we come out and the bars are all closing up. So they're not just getting rowdy, they're just closing up. Now, you know, that's not something I would necessarily am happy about from my own personal experience, because I quite like going out late night drinking. However, you know, I think it's probably very good for the environment, for the amount of litter around, for the level of street crime, etc., etc.
It's just that you haven't found the all-night bar of Loria yet, I suspect. I mean, there
There
probably
are.
is.
I do know of a couple of places that stay open late, but they're not very close to us, and it's starting to get cold to venture out, you know, late at night, too far away, and we don't want to be driving, because then we wouldn't want to be drinking. So.
Yeah, and it's not the best fun, is it, going to a disco on an industrial estate? But I guess, but once you're in, you're in. Antonio F. Bom dia todos. Hello, Antonio. How are you? And Porky Feet comes from, I guess, Portuguese meeting Andy Foot. So the Porky Feet mixture of my surname and Portugal. So I Andy. So it is me. It is I Andy. Yeah. I understand we like the general area of Barragem and want land near it. So talk of central Portugal here. There's a lovely French couple who have a camper spot in Lardoza. The only reason we go there. That sounds like a good spot. VFS handles the D7 application for a lot of different countries' consulates. You can check at the VFS website to see which one. So thanks for that, Jeff.
Yeah, I mean, my friend who's trying to sort out his D7 visa has had a ridiculous experience with them. Can't contact them. No appointments. Yeah, terrible.
Okay.
Just another excuse to stick money into private businesses and do nothing for it.
Okay. AAP. So I see a lot of off-plan properties on Idealista. How legit are those? Sometimes the pictures look similar to other postings I've seen before, and it raises a red flags. What a generic plan that's just chucked in. What do we do for this advert in the paper or on the website? I don't know, just use the old plans that we've had before. Is that what's going on there, Doc?
So we had a scam artist try to get money off us. So posted a lovely apartment of a lovely picture of an apartment. Sounded convincing, but then he said, "Well, I use Airbnb to manage my bookings. I just need the first couple of months sent to me." And I said, "No, you don't need to do that. Airbnb will handle the payments." I know, because I have an Airbnb account and I host on Airbnb occasionally. So you are talking bullshit, mate, and you can get off my email. But yeah, you have to be careful. Some of these properties don't exist at all. Some of these, or certainly not in the places that they're alleged to. Some of them exist, but the owners have no idea that anyone's put up an advert about them.
Wow.
So do your due diligence. If it's not being posted by a reputable, well, as far as reputable as they come, estate agent in Portugal, or a developer who you can get some reasonable information on, then go and look at the next one. There are plenty of legitimate ones around.
Very, very interesting. Okay, and Francis, yeah, well, I mean, we can help. I think there are so many ways of getting help on this side of the water for you. You know, there's Ask Our Expats. I mean, I don't think he'll thank me for it, but Jerry was out yesterday looking for somebody, having a look at a property, and that's happening more and more. And you do need some eyes and ears on the ground, whichever way you do it. I think you need some eyes and ears over on this side rather than taking too much on trust and being exploited potentially, because it's hard to see sometimes when everything's going so well and you're getting a nice bargain and people are just flattering you digitally, as it were. So side note here, talking about whether João was in the Navy or not until 2007, that recently, 2008, it sounds like national service was in force, pardon the pun, in Portugal. Every man, it was just men then in Portugal, was called to serve sometime in the military. Interesting subject, isn't it? Always. Oh, they should bring back national service. It's quite a good idea, I think. If perhaps if the whole remit is broadened, that people do some sort of national service for
Well,
society.
yeah. I mean, in Holland, for example, and Germany, they had national service very recently, probably as recently as Portugal, or almost, I think. And as far as I understand, conscientious objectors could do a kind of non-militaristic form of national service. So it was almost like a community service. I don't know what they did, whether they, in Portugal, they'd probably manicure roundabouts and that sort of thing. But, it's all good.
There are probably so many things that already get done in Portugal with its sort of civic pride that so it may not be as transferable as I'm imagining there. But thanks for that, Antonio F. So there is an hour time difference with the autonomous regions. I didn't know that, and I feel like I should always learning here. So we have an hour time difference with both Madeira and the Azores. Okay, Rebel Mama, when I speak, okay, you might be able to help with this, Doc. When I speak Portuguese with folks, I ask them or uma if I'm not sure, and they always let me know. I had no mask yesterday and asked the lady to sell me or uma mask. She said uma. Porque mascara? What is that? Why a mask? Or I mean, yes, I think the clue is if it ends in an A, it's very likely to be uma, isn't it?
Yeah.
There no doubt be exceptions to that rule in Portuguese. How's it going with the language, Doc?
Slowly.
we have embarked on a little project here, and we have Mia on Friday, of course, coming. But all of us, look, we're doing this. Did you do your 15 minutes a day? So if you want to join us on that, and if you use Memrise, there is a Good Morning Portugal group on there now. So
yeah, I saw your comment on that yesterday. I downloaded Memrise a long time ago and have it's fallen by the wayside, but it's there on my phone. But how do you find the group? I was trying to find the group on the phone and getting very frustrated yesterday.
Matty's the man for that, and I'm sure he'll tell us if he hasn't had to go to work. Bon dia from Patricia as well. Oh, so Madeira might have the same time zone. Oh my goodness, the controversy has begun. This week I started the process of applying for Portuguese nationality. Pam, it's going to be a breeze for you, I think, with your grasp of Portuguese. If you wouldn't mind, it will be lovely to talk to you about that specifically. So good luck with that. That doesn't surprise me at all. With how you integrate and what you're doing, how lovely that'll be for you to have the two passports. I'm sure. I'm imagining it's a shoe-in. Is that the expression? It's going to be easy for you. Forward, fix, or repair daily. Okay, so we've got the vehicle acronyms. We were talking about Fiat earlier on. You might have seen or heard that, Doc. Fiat. Fiat currency, as sanctioned by the state, I think, in that regard, isn't it? Fiat. And we're a bit slow on the uptake today, but talking of fiat currency, world economies, energy crises, and so on, you will obviously, as you said before, as a radical, what did you call yourself? Of the radical left. How are you looking at the world picture at the moment?
Well, it's interesting, isn't it? I mean, we've got a ridiculous surge, or we've had a ridiculous surge in equities, which looks as if it may well continue. We have major countries that are likely to have to raise interest rates or face massive inflation because no one's investing. As I've said before, and I'll say it again, and I'll try and make it very easy. The rate of return on investments has historically declined. So if you look at what you got for your buck 100 years ago, you get a lot less now, generally, in investments. And therefore, people are less willing to invest. And so the money's kept in non-useful assets like cars and gold and diamonds, etc. And people end up out of work because no one's building businesses, and the population growth isn't reversing. So we're getting more people and less industries to work in, and we have no markets to go and exploit because all the developing countries are now very developed, and the communist countries are now part of the capitalist system. And so we've been exploiting the future for the last 30 years by borrowing hugely on credit. And now we can't even do that because we're extended so far into the future. And so we're starting to see inflation, and we're starting to see we're going to start to see interest rate rises. In terms of the energy crisis, well, people aren't going to be prepared to pay the sort of prices that are being asked, and they'll find ways not to consume energy, which will once again add to the unemployment, etc., because there'll be wasted capacity. But people are going to find ways of doing their own solar on the cheap, etc., and use up less on-grid energy, which is a good thing for the environment, a good thing for the planet. But you know, the monetary system is going to suffer.
Well, it's all looking lovely then, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. If you want to see the current financial system change, then it's good news, because this is going to be a driver which is going to bring that pointy further ever closer.
Yeah, indeed. I've scored on the old alternative energy. You'll be glad to hear, Doc. We're now in a suburb, and most evenings now I'm getting Mrs. M into the habit of turning off the nightlight that is there for the youngsters, and I lift the shutters because there's a street lamp outside. And I said, let the council pay the bill. And we have a civic nightlight now, so I'm quite proud of myself on that little saving. It's probably a good €2 or €3 a year with that. So okay.
Yeah, don't spend it. Don't spend it on replacing the lost heat as a result of opening the shutter.
No, okay. Found on road dead is for these acronyms are coming in. Lotus apparently is lots of trouble, usually serious. Yes, I imagine that is the case with the Lotus. Here's a question on Ask Anything About Portugal Wednesday. Does the SI on fire hydrants mean segurança de incêndio, fire safety? That's a hardcore Portuguese question, probably beyond the likes of you and me in it, Doc.
Yeah, I mean it's a reasonable suggestion, and until anyone comes up with a better one, I'll take that.
Yes, Rebel Mama probably looks a wonderful, glamorous picture of motoring beauty with a Fiat Lancia around northern Portugal. What did my auntie have? She's Chinese and lived in rural France, and she used to drive around this incredible sports car at really high speeds when she was trying to get you to the train station on time. She's amazing. But is it a Matra Simca? I think possibly. It was a really special 70s sports car. I can knock Fiat or Alfa Romeo. I can't knock Fiat or Alfa Romeo. They pay my pension. Quite right. It's funny, isn't it? Where everybody's allegiances lie. It's all about the money. Follow the money. Our camper is Fiat. Engine is slow but solid. We love her. Isn't that lovely? And taken from the Latin, meaning let it be done. Okay, that's good. This word appears in the Latin translation of Genesis, the first. Oh, yes, so the good Lord saying, let it be so. Fiat, the first book of the Bible, when God proclaimed, let there be light. Fiat looks very good. Every day a school day on the Good Morning Portugal radio show. I'm looking for questions here. Ask anything about Portugal. Of course, medical ones. The doc was once a GP in the Midlands of Her Majesty's United Kingdom. I had a sweet little Fiat 500 for 4 years before moving here and loved it, says James. Never had a problem with it and was sad to let it go. But these reputations for motor cars last, don't they? Way beyond their appropriateness, I think. Hi. Carl from William, how long can we have a vehicle in Portugal if looking to settle there before registering a vehicle in Portugal? Over to you, Doc.
Well, I'm at 10 months and counting. But I have to say that's because IMT have managed to mess up the process, and actually, I'm sorry to say, so has my local ACP delegation. So we're off down there later this week to have some harsh words, and we'll probably phone the English language line while we're there in order to get some heads knocked together to make sure it happens. Okay. So legally, you have to tell them within 20 days that you've imported it, and start the process to matriculate it. I think now, is that right?
20. Well, I'm embarrassed now because I hosted a webinar with the ACP. Actually, it was about exchanging licenses rather than about your vehicle. So I think I'm let off on that one because I don't actually know the answer. Suffice to say, check with the ACP. There's no point with me speculating, but the ACP will know that the membership of that organisation is a real good hack here in Portugal. So I know it's about €100 a year or something, and you get the normal stuff that you would get with the AA, the AAA, the RAC, plus a load of other benefits, and you can ring them up and ask them. And they love us. They love Expats Portugal. So
we've been rescued twice. We've been rescued twice by them in just over a year, and it's well worth the money.
Yeah, you got your money's worth by the sound of it. Fabbrica Italiana Automobile Torino. So there you go. That's what Fiat actually stands for. Fantastic. Have you seen that documentary about the car maker?
I haven't. I heard about it, but no, I haven't.
I think you'd like it. I think you'd like it because Portuguese politics. Italian politics. It's all in there. You were going to say something, I think, about Fiat.
No.
Oh, okay. Andrew, thank you very much. To Hamza's earlier question, there's a registry office for casamentos, the Conservatoria do Registro Civil. That is a CDRC, I suppose, is the registry office here in Portugal. We weren't sure if you wanted to get married or just register the fact that you were married in Portugal. So we might need a little bit more info on that. You might want to just go straight to Gilda and Co. and ask them. Okay, let's see what else, what other questions we've got. And yes, I think quite a few people applauding Pamela, future citizen of Portugal there. And we have actually been sent a picture of a fire hydrant as well. This show is so rocks. It really does. I have a fire hydrant with the letters SI written on it. Totally feeling you on hidden appointments with Seth. And James, I think, can be helpful. My residency card arrived this week. That's fantastic news, Andrew. James has a little bit of intel on where to find where your appointment is. Has sent me a picture, which I won't show because I think it's got your personal details on, but you might want to say more in the comments there, James. I didn't know all the intricacies of the CEF, but anything Bloco de Esquerda puts forth is fine by me. So that's your allegiance here, right, Doc?
Absolutely. They're constantly putting forward proposals that will help the ordinary person, and occasionally they manage to get the socialist government to accept them. Of course, the socialist government leaned on the left bloc for majority support in Parliament up until the last parliamentary elections. So yeah, it's a shame that that our presidential candidate didn't get more support last year, or earlier this year. But there we are. Okay. But carry on. I mean, I'm a member. I can't do much until my Portuguese is better in terms of actively participating. But yes, I'm a member.
Okay, and Seth needs a new agency for UK citizens. Suck. I think a lot of people would agree with that, wouldn't they? Portuguese Antonio F. Expect problems in the next months due to SEF extinction, he's calling it. The SEF extinction. Before the involved institutions settled the adequate procedures. Yeah, it's gonna be a bit of a mess, isn't it, for ongoing. And in many ways, a lot of people are moaning about that. Oh, there's going to be even more delays. There's going to be more problems. But maybe it's not such a bad thing in some ways as well. I think there's a bit of a silver lining to it. Their chaos. Can I have my eyes tested in Cascais? I'm over 60. So how much do I pay? I'm sure. That's what I've noticed in Portugal. You're never far from a multibanco. You're never far from a pharmacy, are you? You're never far from a vet. And I'm sure you're never far from an ophthalmologist either. Any experience with that?
No, I haven't had my eyes tested for a while. And I have a friend who's an ophthalmologist in the UK who tested them last time. I was going to get them done the last time I went back and didn't. So the answer is no. I don't have any experience, although I suspect if I don't get back to UK for a reasonable length of time in the next year, I'll have to go and have them tested here.
Okay.
I don't know what the answer is in terms of money.
I've got a little bit of help for you there, Patricia. I mean, I don't know exactly on the money side, because you also want to have a booster, a virus booster in Qashqai. I'm double jabbed already. How much does the booster cost? I have a D7 visa. So, Patricia, we have Anna. We have Anna who is over there in Qashqai, and you could get an hour of her time on the Ask Our Expats system. But I mean, if you ask that in the forum, you're going to get an answer on that. Well, quite a few of our members live over in Qashqai. They're going to be able to point you in the right direction for an eye test and a booster. And of course, if you take out a Portuguese private medical insurance of some kind, you're going to get a discount on what you pay to have your eyes tested.
Sorry, Carl, I just dropped out there. But...
Well, it's fine, because I was talking about private medical insurance, which you may not have approved of anyway. Speaking of medieval, with restrictions going away, get ready for the medieval fairs of Portugal, everybody.
Yeah.
Óbidos, I think Óbidos hopefully will be in full swing as we move towards Christmas. I can't wait to get over there. They can't wait to get on their medieval glad rags in Óbidos. I mean, people talk about the 60s and the 70s as being a great time to be alive. There's something about medieval times that brings out the beast in people as well. Don't you think, Doc? Like chickens running under the table, dogs, kids, people throwing chicken legs around and being bawdy. What's that all about?
It's just more fun and less control. I mean, if you did get caught doing something wrong, you got beheaded. But apart from that, it was a great time to be alive.
Oh, just one bad day then, right? It's Wednesday, so I need to leave early. Have a great day, everyone. Nice one. We're only going to be here for a few more minutes now. Thanks, everybody, for your questions. And thanks for your answers as well. Had a business call that lasted 20 minutes. We'll have to work is getting in the way of a lot of people's lives here, I notice. João Alves, my Portuguese phrase of the day, espero que te tenham levantado bem. Depostos nesta manhã. So now trying to say and translate that. I just did, João. Thank you for that. I hope... I think it is, says Matty. I hope you all got up in a good mood in this sunny morning. Am I right? Rugby Colin, I hope you all got up in a good mood on this sunny morning. So people are responding to that. That's fantastic.
Very good.
They're all just cutting and pasting and translating it, though. VFS in San Francisco was actually quite responsive and helpful to me in my D7 application process. They answered all my questions and referred me to specific documents I needed, all via email. So that's good news.
Good.
Yeah, good to report. Okay, last few comments then. Rebel Mama, I see you trying to communicate with us there. And a whole load of comments have just appeared under my from my mouse, issue forward from my mouse. I have Hashimoto's. Technically, but no typical symptoms. I plan to go for my yearly blood draw at my sold. Do they have a lab in-house? Will they call me back or tell me over the phone? So any experience of that? And what is Hashimoto's, please?
Hashimoto's is an autoimmune thyroid problem. No, the answer is no, they will not have a lab in-house unless they're very much an outlier. I've never found a lab in-house in a health centre. What they will do is they will give you a piece of paper, or they might email you the request, which you then take to one of your local labs who has a contract with the SNS, and you can find that on the SNS website. And the lab will draw your blood. You won't pay anything. They'll take the blood, and then they will, if you ask them, they will email the results to you. If you don't ask them to do that, you'll have to go and pick it up in hard copy, and then you will send it to your doctor. It's a long-winded way of going about things. It's one of the, it's outsourcing by the health service, which is something I fought against in the UK, but it does work, and there are a number of labs everywhere. You'll see them all over the place.
Beatrice, yes, Beatrice. What's her name?
Beatrice Gordino seems to have the monopoly in. Well, they don't actually, but they have a large number of centres in central Portugal. But there are other analysis labs are available.
They do. They do. Oh, yes. Okay. So, and Antonio F helping you out there. That's great, Antonio. I appreciate that. Thank you, Doc, as well. My dad was in the Portuguese artillery coming back to national service. He said he peeled a lot of potatoes, but you don't want one of those on the back of the head, do you? I mean, artillery is artillery. You say it says end stage capitalism. Is that what we're looking at here? I wonder.
Yeah.
The Venus Project offers possible alternatives for the current monetary system based on sustainability. Definitely worth exploring. Thank you for that. And by way of a little light relief, that is one of my favorites of all time. The jazz funk track of the day from Capricorn 12 is Ain't Got Time for Nothing, an anthem of these busy times where we wonder, what's it all about? Why are we in such a rush all the time? Why can't we stop and smell the flowers? Rebel Mama, thanks. I dropped my private as soon as I got my utent. Will they make me another appointment right away or call me? Sorry, it's so different than the States. Okay, I'm sure help is on its way with that. Let there be slugs. Fiat slugs, of course. Andy, when can you get the trike so you can join the Future Expats Motorcycle Club?
Oh, is that to me? When I get the try, well, I don't know. The answer is that the new house is probably going to absorb a lot of our income over the next couple of years. But I will try and siphon some off to enable me to get a decent trike. I will certainly join the Future Expats Motorcycle Club.
There you go. That's going to be a rambunctious bunch, isn't it? Natalie Gray, how do you find a private specialist if you're not in your town? If they're not in your town, how can you do that? Can you go to the nearest town? If you're on private, you can phone up and they will schedule it for you. In the public system, how does that work, Doc?
So you can choose where to go. So I've got an extant referral to a orthopedic surgeon, and I was able to choose between my local hospital in Leiria or any other, and I actually chose Coimbra because fortuitously as it happens, given that we're going to be moving closer to there, but I chose Coimbra because they had a better orthopedic department, and I was advised that was probably a good idea. So you can choose. You can just say to your GP, actually, I don't want to go to this place, I want to go to that place. But a private specialist, well, I guess it depends whether or not they're recognized by your health insurance. So we have ACP health insurance, which just we took in the middle of lockdown because it meant we would be able to get a domiciliary GP appointment at some point if we needed it. But that came with you just ring the helpline, you say, I want to find my nearest whatever it is who speaks English, and they will tell you who it is and make the appointment.
Yeah,
or give you the number to ring. So
all right, that's good to know, and thank you very much for that, Doc. Are you all right for a few more minutes? Because we suddenly have
yeah.
Why
listen, Carl, I'm Estou reformado. I have all the time in the world.
I know, but you're going to the theatre and you're studying roundabouts and all this sort of stuff. You've got other things to do. So I was just checking there, and we've been here for an hour and a half already, and then suddenly everyone's suddenly got questions. It's just the way it goes, I guess. But Antonio F and others continuing to be helpful to Rebel Mama. So I think you're going to get the questions. You're going to get the answers to the questions you've got. She lives in a tiny village where the clinic is only open 2 days a week. I plan to walk in on Friday to try it out. So I'd like to know what might happen. Well, there you go, Rebel Mama. Let us know what happens with that. For William from Matty, I think pretty much what Doc says. Import your vehicle and you have 12 months to get it imported after getting residency. But you must have owned it for more than 6 months. Otherwise, it looks like you're doing a moody import. If you miss the window, you have to pay import taxes. I mean, mostly we advise against importing vehicles because it's such a headache. You have to be sort of sentimentally attached, or it has to have some special adaptations or something to make it worthwhile. Capricorn 12, really important question here. How far apart do we live? Doc, next time I'm in Portugal, I'd love to meet up with you, Superboc or Sagres.
40 minutes, Superboc.
Oh, here we go. That was easy, wasn't it? Another question. I heard the Portuguese have great sales until November the 7th, but heard they have Black Friday deals. Which one is true? They have sales all the time here, don't they, Doc? How does it work?
Well, I mean, I'm not sure whether the recent flood of sales is an unfortunate result of COVID. There are businesses that appear to be closing, but yes, I mean there are always sales, as there are on the UK high streets, and probably many other places around the world. I take them all with a pinch of salt, and if I'm not happy for the value and the quality for the price I'm paying, I don't do it. And if I am, I do, and don't get too bent out of shape if next week you see it for 20% less somewhere else. It's going to happen.
Stop looking. Rugby Colin, you have 20 days to start the matriculation when resident, but not when not resident. It can stay here for 180 days in any 1 year. I mean, that's a hassle right there, isn't it? Loving Santa Cruz. And ultimately, that's how I discovered Ericeira, says James. There's a conversation ongoing. There are many conversations going on in the comment thread, which is great. People helping each other. I'm so pleased about that. I miss our wine nights, guys.
Me too.
There's a lot of saudade about that, isn't there? So I think, and it was a winter thing. It was really nice on a winter's evening. So perhaps the comeback is due for the Good Morning Portugal wine club. Maybe we need to talk. Eye tests are usually free in Portugal, says Pam. That's good to know. For you, Patricia, isn't that fantastic? Regrettably, I have to go now. I have a very busy day ahead. This was almost a doctor's visit today. I'll have to I'll have to watch this show sometime later. Lovell, very special hug to you, Hank. There you go. Doc, flying out of Faro this week. I produced my residency documents at Port Central. Is that a special sort of veterinary angle of Seth? I was surprised to see the amount of typing the Seth agent did on her computer. Is this normal now? Or were they just pretending?
Well, it's interesting. I haven't had experience of border control at Portugal since we moved here, or rather since I drove back in February when the borders were closed, and apparently I should have produced my European A4 document with the yellow circle of stars as well as my barcode. However, he let me through. But otherwise, yeah, it's always been driving, so I've had no experience.
Okay, so we don't know the answer to that, but I suppose it's a bit worrying, isn't it? If you're there, they're sort of tapping away, look up at you and tap a bit more, and then go, okay.
I think it may be that they were verifying the code on the barcode thing and having to tap in that long, however many digit number it is into their browser in order to ensure that it was kosher.
It's probably because he had his camera on him. He's videoing all the time as Capricorn 12, making travelogue videos. So it was probably something to do with that. We, ages 67 and 74, says Sarah, have SNS numbers, and the health service texted us with proposed appointments. Okay, so when you're in the system, you get text, quite a lot of text. You haven't gotten a text, you might drop by the health centre and just ask Patricia. So there you go. That'll be one way of doing it as well. That's for your booster, not for your eye appointment. Bondia from Lisbon from T Travels. Nice to finally see a live show. Excuse me. Usually have to catch the recording in the US. Well, great to have you here, T Travels. Question: how do I get an SNS number? We go to your local health centre for that, don't you?
Right. Okay. So, Andrew, it depends. I think you're probably too young to be getting a pension, so you won't have an S1 to register. You need to, I'm trying to think, you need to go to the Social Security offices. You need to produce your residency. You need to apply. Effectively, the best thing to do is to apply for what I did that kind of triggered all this, apart from getting the consulate to make a lot of high-level contacts to unblock the system. Sorry, Francis, we're boring you. What we had to do is to apply for. We had to apply for one of the blue cards, the equivalent of an EHIC. but issued in Portugal, and that kind of triggered everything. But you are entitled to a user number, and you can either do that. You can supposedly do it through the health centre, but you can also do it through the Social Security.
Okay, all right. So a lot of help for Andrew there as well. And Natalie, just if we're going to help Natalie, I don't know if you mentioned this before, Doc, forgive me if you did. Best hospital in Coimbra, because you know Coimbra pretty well, don't you? Which ones would I have a better chance of getting an English-speaking doctor specialist at?
Your chance of getting an English-speaking doctor in Coimbra is probably 95%. It's a very cosmopolitan community, and Portuguese specialists mostly speak English. In terms of the best hospital, I don't know, because I was just looking on the SNS hospital site, because there is an SNS hospital, but then obviously there are, thanks Francis, there are private hospitals as well, and as someone who would try and avoid the private system at all costs, I only looked at the national health system.
Okay. Amazing. So a real surge at the end there for the climax of the show. We've got a few pictures to look at as we breathe out. And we're not even going to go. I think he's just winding us up now, asking this question. What do I need to do before exchanging my driving license? And I think praying is probably the best advice.
You have to get a medical certificate.
Yeah, no, we did this. We had the webinar. It was a really miserable affair last Thursday because the real problem for people, and there was all kinds of consternation and wailing and gnashing of teeth, is that if you want to keep the big problem was keeping the extra classifications for people who ride big motorbikes, people of a certain age, people who needed to be retested, and that was the problem. But if it's only a simple, and I use the word simple advisedly, you're absolutely right, Doc. You need to have the medical, psychological and medical test, don't you? Which is not as onerous as it sounds. Many
probably
doctors
also need to get your license translated now as well.
Okay,
by the consulate.
He's just winding us up, I think. There.
No, it's on the list.
No, not you, Andy.
Okay, Andrew. All right.
Yes, it's after 10 o'clock, and he's asking a question like that. Just one more thing in a Colombo style. There, he's not going to get. Buy a bicycle. That's the answer. There you go. So let's show a nice couple of pics, shall we? Maybe we're asking for trouble because we keep the ticker tape going and ask any questions, and so that's what you've done. Thank you very much. So I'll turn those off now, so that we don't have you continuing to ask questions here in the comments. I can't see how to turn that one off now, but okay.
Edit it to stop asking any questions.
Yes, stop asking questions now. Okay, and we're going to zoom in. You can have a nice look at us for this last little bit as we share some pictures with you. There you go. We didn't actually find out what SI stands for. Incendio is a very good guess, though, isn't it? And I'm thinking, do Portuguese kids, like they do in America, sort of knock the top off that and cause a great big geyser spurt to happen in the hotter days of summer? That's Bath, everybody. COP26 politics going on there in Bath. Bit of the old rising sea level there, right in the middle, nowhere near the sea in Bath, of course. And Pastel Donatas there. I think that's Francis's pictures from where he was talking about. Was it in Obidos? The red burger van. The Belgian burgers, and of course the obligatory super bock alongside from the conversation we had with Simon yesterday, and a final video. So a 2-video combo, our usual outro, and a lovely video that's been sent in. Oh no, we missed one. Actually, let me just show this very quickly. This is something that James sent in. This is where the date is shown, I believe, on the documents there. So that's stamped onto the official document there, and his appointment is shown. So that's where to look as well. Thank you to James for that. Have I got your video here of surfers? I think I have. Is it the 20? No, that was yesterday. We've got videos of surfers in the sea at the Algarve, as well as the Navy further out. Here we go. This is the one I want to show you. Thank you to Victoria for this. Thank you, everybody, for your excellent attention and input this morning. Nice one, Andrea, for being a day early. And we'll use that comment tomorrow morning. Thank you, Doc. Have a great day, my friend.
Ciao, ciao.
Ciao for now.
Dear.
That's really gnarly, man. The Navy out at sea.
Right.
Isn't that fantastic? Peace and love in the foreground, and the peacekeeping, let's call them peacekeeping forces out at sea, have now dispersed, having collected their port from the Algarve. Cheers, Doc. Bye for now, mate. Love to
Ciao, ciao, bye. Have a good day.
later. Yeah.